and our Constitution reaffirms that all persons with disabilities must enjoy all human rights and fundamental freedoms, and covers rights related to all areas of life, such as equality, accessibility, education, independent living, health, employment, and freedom from violence. Regionally, for the first time, we have an Africa-wide disability-specific instrument that seeks to ensure the rights of those with disabilities are addressed. The protocol complements the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities by addressing the rights of persons with disabilities from an African perspective, considering the lived realities such as harmful practices, beliefs, and superstitions. While we ensure we have legislation and policies in place, let us not forget that the environment remains the greatest barrier to inclusion of persons with disabilities. We must therefore address physical barriers by ensuring accessibility of our built environments where everyone can participate and make information accessible through various formats such as sign language, interpretation, braille materials, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya plays a critical role in the realization of aspirations of the development goals of other legislations put in for the welfare of PWDs. Established 44 years ago as a trusteeship under the Perpetual Succession Act, CAP 164, the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya has a mandate of enhancing social and economic empowerment of persons with disabilities. This is achieved by supporting individual persons with disabilities with assistive technology as enablers to inclusion of economic empowerment through provision of tool sets that enhance their social and economic independence. Additionally, the fund continues to improve the infrastructure and facilitate institutions that caters for learners with disability in order to build capacity and better achieve this population. For the last 15 years, the fund has implemented a flagship program in all our 47 counties. Anchored on the right to education, the program is aimed at developing infrastructure in institutions of learning to enhance learning experiences, increase enrollment and retention of learners, as well as help them acquire relevant skills. Over 200 schools for learners with disabilities across Kenya have benefited with essential and fully equipped facilities that include dormitories, vocational training, workshops, classrooms, dining facilities, computer labs, among others. In addition, the fund supports over 200 institutions across the country with annual grants towards improving their facilities, renovations, purchase of learning equipment and materials, water sanitation and hygiene programs, therapy equipment, and other assistance that facilitates learning. Cognizant that persons with disabilities are more likely to experience adverse socio-economic outcomes, including low levels of employment and higher poverty rates, the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya also targets individual persons with disabilities and equips them with relevant tools of trade geared towards their economic empowerment through business startups. These tools of trade are provided at no cost to the beneficiaries. Where possible, and through advocacy, the fund is able to link them with markets to showcase and sell their products. Ladies and gentlemen, as a fund, we have purpose to inspire change through strategic partnerships and essential collaborations. We are ready to work with policymakers, corporates, and communities to build inclusive platforms where every individual with a disability can contribute their voice and vision. We invite you all to interact with us and other sector stakeholders during the events taking place this week, especially the luncheon hosted by the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya today, and the dinner in the dark hosted tomorrow by the Kenya Society for the Blind, a dinner experience aimed at supporting education for learners with disabilities. Kindly purpose to visit our exhibition booths, where we will learn about inclusion in the arts, culture, and education and technology. Let us pledge to listen, learn, and act in ways that ensure persons with disabilities are not just included, but embraced as an integral part in our society. Together, let us also challenge stereotypes, break down barriers, and foster a culture of understanding, respect, and dignity to persons with disabilities. Let us ensure that no one is left behind. Once again, I thank you for this opportunity to talk about the disability fraternity and showcase their talents and their wares across the country of Kenya. Thank you once again for this opportunity.
At home, so my pride, that's where my heart belongs. Mokolonge Uhuru, Mokolonge Wina, Mokolonge Kisumo, Antelunge Dala, Korkamolo Tinga, Dalaganya Yomo.
Very well. Thank you, Daktari, as well. The Bible is very clear that your talent will make you sit before kings. If I was not an MC, how would I have walked down the stairs with Dr. Christina? Let's appreciate her once more. Without much ado, allow me, Your Excellency, to welcome the Deputy Governor, Kisumu County, Dr. Matthew Owili, to guide us in the next bit of the program.
My home, my sweet home, so my pride, that's where my heart belongs. Mokolonge Uhuru, Mokolonge Wina, Mokolonge Kisumo, Antelunge Dala, Korgamolo Tinga.
Thank you, Your Excellencies, Baba and Baba. Allow me to ride on the protocol already set, but to recognize in a special way our host governor, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, who in his own wisdom has brought all this together. Allow me to welcome all of you to Kisumu City and to Kisumu County. Warwako udala, karibuni nyumbani, welcome home. Dala simply means home in our local dialect. I would like at this point to introduce the members of the County Assembly. I recognize the presence of the Speaker, the Honorable Elisha Jakoraro, together with all members of the County Assembly present. Allow me also to introduce members of the County Cabinet. If you are there, kindly be upstanding. Asanteni sana, thank you very much, and especially Beatrice Odongo Wadiaga, the Minister for Culture. Allow me also now to recognize the presence of the area member of parliament, the Honorable Shakil Shabir. Tumpige makofi. Allow me again to recognize the presence of the member of parliament for Kisumu West, the Honorable Rosa Buyu. Tumpige makofi. And the member of parliament for the county of Kisumu, the Honorable Ruth Adhiambo Odinga. Now, Kisumu is the third largest city in Kenya, and for the next 3 days or 4, we will be the melting point of the African culture. In Africa, we believe in unity. In Africa, we believe in leaving no one behind. The more reason why today there was great inclusivity, bringing on board those who are living with disability. And in Africa, we will march towards that desired destination as one people. And of course, we will enjoy our culture. Before I invite the governor of the county of Kisumu, allow me to say the following. Our chief guest for today, His Excellency Raila Odinga, has a big dream for Africa. And Your Excellency, Africa is looking forward to your tenure as the African Union chairman. We know that there is a path that you must take to that destination, a walk that you must take. From the county of Kisumu, we stand with you, and we know that God will lead you to that desired destination, because Africa, ladies and gentlemen, must be great. And now, with those few remarks, I want to invite our vision bearer in the county of Kisumu, the governor, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o. Anajua yeye ni msanii na kuna wimbo anapenda sana. Kwa hivyo kama mnaweza hiyo, alafu najua mama county atamuescort tena wakuja hapa juu, lakini awekee ile wimbo anapenda. Kanya Kusumu, simply meaning that when you educate a lady, ero kamano, magoka yuoch governor. Nyago sito.
Mulo nyamaro, mula togido, yora yo. Achogi uradi yo, sungu. Awach ni okego kuon, wach nika. Awach biro uradi yo, awach opon. To chuagi yare uradi yo, chualuor. Yara okego kuon, ye mor. Chogi wonya lunga in kanye. Isama kodongo ya wajama nade.
I thought you were not coming.
Isama kodongo migele ujama li. Wajama nade. Wajama riek. Okego neya. Molu wonya lego. Baba.com. Baba young tax. Agwabo young man. For the young boy. Mano wudu mudo. Mano wudu word. Mano min mito. Moli ngama nade. Wachukego neya. Kama lead. Mungmiri wa Kenya. Yeah.
Haya. Where are they? Huh? Okay, pole sana. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to officially welcome our guest, President Olusegun Obasanjo, whose host is our Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, whom I will request to speak subsequently in opening today's Fastac. As you know, Fastac, as the previous speakers have said, has a long history. And as we are gathered today, here, members of the diplomatic corps, national government officials, county government officials, governors here, and cultural leaders and other distinguished guests. We're really honored to have President Olusegun Obasanjo, who initiated Fastac many years ago in Nigeria, to have honored us to come here at this particular version of Texas Fastac that we are giving home to as Kisumu, and we are very grateful for that. But before I go further, I want to give greetings from my daughter, Lupita Mondi Nyong'o, whose message could not be shown, but she's sure that she's with you. And to remind you that a very important play is currently going on at the National Theatre in Nairobi called Sarafina, which is based on the rebellion GNZs in South Africa during apartheid times, and it's something worth seeing if you have time. It's a very, very good play. So the big day is finally here, Mr. Prime Minister and President Obasanjo. And I thank you for gracing it. I also salute the Fastac Executive Committee for choosing this beautiful and culturally vibrant city for Fastac, along with all the poets, artists, writers, cultural activists, musicians, and many other leaders of culture that have performed here today and will perform this week. They remind us very much of the role that our leading writers performed in promoting African culture in Africa. In East Africa, we cannot forget Okot Babitek. If he were alive, he would be here today, especially his two very important book-long poetry, Song of the Wind and Song of Achol. We can't forget Taban Loliong, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Austin Bukenya, who is with us here, Okello Chuli, and the late Michere Mugo, among others. Let us salute them because they have kept Africa culture alive in books, storybooks, and plays. Kisumu's proximity to neighboring East and Central Africa, the port and the international airport, and the railway station, and robust tourism circuit makes it a very appropriate destination for cultural tourism in our country. In 2022, we became the first intermediary city in Africa to host the Afri-Cities Summit successfully. More than 13,000 delegates came to Kisumu, and we hope this culture, this practice will be continued in the future by our community in Kisumu. We are excited to play host to this Africa's biggest cultural celebration after a hiatus of more than 45 years, during which it almost died. The first event was held in Dakar in 1966, and the second one was a major international festival held in Lagos under the leadership of President Obasanjo here today, from January 1977 to February 12, 1977. The month-long event celebrated African culture and showcased the world African music, fine art, literature, drama, dance, and religion. The event held in Lagos in 1977 was the most successful. It was attended by some of Africa's highly celebrated musicians and writers, including Fela Kuti, Miriam Makeba, Sun Ra, Wole Soyinka, Stevie Wonder, Onde Lord, Amiri Baraka, and Barclay Hendricks, among others. Following successful comebacks in Zanzibar in 2022 and Arusha 2024, we are happy to be home to Fastac again. I would like to take this opportunity again to thank His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, who together with his colleagues, Abdoulaye Wade of Senegal, Abdulaziz Bouteflika of Algeria, and Thabo Mbeki of South Africa, worked so hard to continue the information on arts and culture in the new Partnership for Africa's Development, which has become a bedrock for planning for Africa's unity and Africa's development. In his popular book, Things Fall Apart, Achebe writes powerfully about cultures and religion, and remember him for many of his quotes, one of which was referred here today. And I repeat it. When a man invites his kinsmen for a feast, he does not do so to save them from starving. They have all the food they need in their homes. When we gather together in a moonlight village ground, it is not because of the moon. Every man can see it from his own compound. We come together because it is good to do so. Africa must arise. Africa must keep together. Africa must respect and institutionalize its cultural practices so that the younger ones coming up later may not forget them, but find them alive as things that are extremely relevant to their day-to-day life. Because without culture, we are dead. With culture, we are united with our past and our future. I now take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, if you give me a chance, to invite to the podium our very distinguished President. Oh, sorry. I had forgotten about the entertainment. I wanted to have the entertainment before I invite the President and the Prime Minister. We have some artists who would like to perform before then to break the speaking and to warm up that stage a little with some music that reminds us of our past and our future, and that lives, makes our culture live. Can I have the first one on the stage, please? Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Your Excellency. I'm very much honored to be here this afternoon, and I welcome you all to Kisumu, and it always feels nice to share my music from the lakeside with you guys. So this song is dedicated to one of our beloved cities. You all know the song. This is where it all began. I was a young lady. Sahi nimemea, vitu vimemea kidogo kidogo. But it's always a pleasure to be here. So the song is entitled Kisumu 100. Kisumo, Kisumo ber Kisumo, etera diaba Kisumo, donguil, nyaka wa miel donge, mbona sioni mkikatika ama hii ni kionjo? Negaido tera winam, yeah yeah, aido meli tera wigot, tokaido tera Kisumo. Kisumo ber Kisumo, etera diaba Kisumo, Kisumo ber Kisumo, etera diaba Kisumo, etera diane pacho, etera diane pacho, etera diane dala, Kisumo ber Kisumo, etera diane pacho, Kisumo ber Kisumo, etera diane dala, legaido tera winam, yeah yeah, aido meli tera wigot, tokaido tera Kisumo, aido meli tera kanye, boda boda suoya kondele, anna duaro kenda, onge ngama tera, anna duaro kenda, onge ngama tera, bini dong jadala, bini dong jatelo, bini dong osiepna, bini dong jaturwa, bini dong jadala, bini dong wadwa miel matinia, anadwa ni jakomo miel, dong nyaka arwake maber, orwako welo donge. Bini dong jadala, bini dong jatelo, bini dong osiepna, bini dong jaturwa, bini dong jadala, bini dong jatelo, bini dong osiepna, bini dong. Tera diaba Kisumo, tera diaba Kisumo, dalagi mama yo, dalagi baba yo, tulo ujo malongo, dungu gero Kisumo yai. Tera diaba Kisumo, tera diaba Kisumo, dalagi mama yo, dalagi baba yo, tulo ujo malongo, dungu gero Kisumo yai. Anagomba diane Kisumo, kenda gomba diane lolue, Victoria, dalagi mama yo, Victoria, dalagi baba yo, anagomba diane Kisumo, twendeni tujenge Kisumu, wageni karibu Kisumu, ni wanapamba pia tupande, ni wanapamba pia tulime, tuvune vizuri, negaido tera winam, yeah yeah, aido meli tera kanye, tera diane Kisumo, tokaido tera Kisumo, tera diane Kisumo, anna duaro kenda, onge ngama tera, anna duaro kenda, onge ngama tera, omena mit kibuye, etera diane, mota mit kibuye, etera diane, ngege mit manyata yawa, etera diane, obambo mit nyawita, etera diane, bini dong jadala, bini dong jatelo, bini dong osiepna, bini dong jaturwa, bini dong jadala. Thank you very much.
There is only one Susanna Uyo. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Apesi, stage is yours.
Fastac Africa. One more time for Susanna Owio. One more time for Susanna Owio. Original diva. Original diva. Original Nile Queen. Right about now, we're bringing on Apesi. 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 Obunga to the wall.
Yeah, check 1, 2.
Hey, yeah, Sweetona, the only flyover in Condele, the only virgin in Entebbe, the only mbuta in Obunga. Nataka toa wewe Nyeri, nilete wewe Kisumu, via international airport, the land of Lupita and Obama. Apesi God. Ayo, yelele ya ye, siro akeli Kisumu. Eya Sweetona, the only flyover in Condele, the only virgin in Entebbe, the only muta in Obunga. Nataka toa wewe Nyeri, nilete wewe Kisumu, via international airport, the land of Lupita and Obama. Jambo, Jambo Siro, Jambo Siro, habari yako nzuri sana. Negwedete Siro, Jambo, Jambo Siro, Eriga Siro, habari yako nzuri sana. Tapeleka wewe Lake Victoria, tuendeswe na boat kidogo, ituzunguse hadi Hotel Wani, wachamgege giko. Hey ya Obambona, the only fish in Lake Victoria, the only hippo in Hippo Point, the only pala in Impala. Jambo, Jambo Siro, Jambo Siro, habari yako nzuri sana. Negwedete Siro, Jambo, Jambo Siro, Eriga Siro, habari yako nzuri sana. Listen to this. Hey, our Sweetona, the only flyover in Condele, the only virgin in Entebbe, the only buta in Obunga. Nataka toa wewe Homa Bay, nilete wewe Kisumu, via international airport, the land of Lupita and Obama. Jambo, Jambo Siro, Eriga Siro, habari yako. Give me something and go. Obunga to the world. Above the name of Apesi again, Yamakali. So when I say Apesi, you say Yamakali. Apesi, Apesi, Apesi. Yawastiroha will take you to Kiboko Bay, from sunset to sunrise. Usiku tulale kesha hoteli, yeah. Apesi, so big nipeleke wewe Kibuye, ni Jumapili ndo chechino, Jumapili ndo chechino. Jambo Siro, Jambo Siro, habari yako nzuri sana. Negwedete Siro, Jambo Siro,
so beautiful. The song talks about the beauty of Kisumu. It talks about unity. Thank you so much. That was my time.
Now we're coming. One more time for Pesim Nyamamkali. Right about now, we're taking another flight out to the west, the land of Baba. We come from the land of Baba to the land of Baba. Afro Jam rock artists, straight from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. Give it up for Benny Willis.
Yay, yay! Africa, stand up! Big up yourself, Africa. I love you so much. First, maximum respect. The song I'm about to do is called Mama Africa. That is what we're doing right now. We're uniting Africa. To my president, Babao. And to Baba. All right, Mama Africa, DJ, let it roll. Real reggae.
When you know say you love Africa, pull up your face in the air like this.
True talk.
Africa nice and sweet. And Benny Willis says so. You don't know.
Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Oh, Mama Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Oh, Mama Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Are you in Africa? I'm in Africa. Mama Africa. I'm in Africa. Let's walk upon the streets of gold, the land of milk and honey, when nature never gets old. Mama Africa evergreen, African nice, African sweet, Africa home to every community. So much love, so much peace. Mama Africa showing us identity. Welcome to Africa. This our nation showing you what it does. Beautiful Mama Africa. This our nation showing you what it does. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Oh, Mama Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Oh, Mama Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Are you in Africa? I'm in Africa. Mama Africa. I'm in Africa. Wait a minute, what we popping on the air? What somebody tell them making on the air? We getting money, so we holler every day. And I forgive and go astray. I make my people say you're creeping out the back closet. But you know what I'm here. Nobody else is approaching. Africa around here. I'm reaching out for my one nation. I hold it to me. What's slipping up about Africa, you know I can't get. God of Benny Willis and Africa. God me bless your name, cause we are faithfully made. My God, you love me, bully, greedy, but we know that full well. No desperation of the devil cannot be worth me down. God, you hope your man shall last every flip on the ground. No information in a nation, I'm making the brother to go low. I'm citizen of Africa, me tell you so. Why your name, Almighty God, God of Benny Willis and Africa. Me say me bless your name, come here, have your holy name. You love me, bully, greedy, but you know that full well. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Oh, Mama Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Oh, Mama Africa. Have mercy, Lord, upon Africa. Are you in Africa? Mama Africa. Mama Africa.
proud yourself.
One Africa. Yeah, one more time. Let's hear it for Bernie Willis, straight from Lagos. Fastac Africa. Africa is diverse. It's the origin of all music. We're starting from the root to the fruit. Right about now, I have the legendary band. This band has been a soundtrack of our parents' lives. This band that you see on stage here, every song tells a story. This band that you see on stage here is a legendary band from East African music. East African music will not be there without this band that you see on this Fastac stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Kisumu County, Fastac Africa, as this band gets ready, this is Les Wanyika. I just want to call them Les Wanyika. I want to add legendary Les Wanyika. One more time, let me hear it for Les Wanyika. When I say less, you say what? Less. Less. Less.
Oh yes. Cheza na Le Wanyika. 1 2 1 2.
Soundman.
Original Le Wanyika. Yes.
Adoyo.
This is the legend Les Wanyika live on the stage. Amoso uduto. Amoso ukendo. Mailungo ni Les Wanyika. It was started in 1978. Up to date, we are still keeping it strong. Tokungewe nde megeles Wanyika achiel kuomigi. Nensina makosa. Gamigo. Tokawuono dwa miyo. Joka jonam. Untie. Wahero waenya. Let's go. This is legend Les Wanyika live on the stage.
This is Les Wanyika, legendary, East Africa's finest, legendary catalog. When you talk about a legendary catalog, this is the definition of that.
Check 1 2. Yes. Okay. Check.
Amigo.
So.
Tabia zako zimesha kuponza Buke na watoto wamekimbia. Tulikukanya chunga heshima yako. Buke na watoto wako nyumbani. Ndio hazina ya maisha yako. Amigo. Wakati tunakupa ushauri uliona sisi watu fitina. Twaingilia mambo yako ya ndani. Na kwamba tukwache kama ulivyo. Sababu wewe bingwa wa maisha. Amigo. Thamani ya mke ni mavazi. Kula vizuri, kulala vizuri. Ndiyo siri ya kudumisha ndoa. Naishi kwa raha amigo. Watoto wako wapeleke shule. Kwa manufaa yao ya baadaye. Elimu ndiyo zawadi muhimu kwa watoto wako amigo. Badala yake mambo yote hayo kwa mkeo imekuwa ni ndoto. Maisha yake ya kubahatisha na kazi unafanya amigo. Kamechoka mwisho
kakimbia, umebaki kulaumu wenzio. Lawama zako hazina msingi, bembeleza mke wakurudie. Kula vizuri, kulala vizuri, ndiyo siri ya kudumisha ndoa, taishi kwa raha amigo. Watoto wako wapeleke shule kwa manufaa yao ya baadaye. Elimu ndiyo zawadi muhimu kwa watoto wako amigo. Badala yake mambo yote hayo kwa mkeo imekuwa ni ndoto. Maisha yake ya kubahatisha na kazi unafanya amigo. Yamechoka mwisho kakimbia, umebaki kulaumu wenzio. Lawama zako hazina msingi, bembeleza mke wakurudie. Jirani na rafiki tulisha kukanya sana amigo. Heshimu mke na watoto wako, heshimu baba na mama nyumbani, na wakwe zako wape heshima, shemeji zako pia waheshimu. Tukawa sisi wabaya kwako, ushauri wetu hauna maana. Tukwache kama ulivyo amigo, sababu wewe ni bingwa wa maisha. Mahali umeshalipa amigo, leo una habari naye, na leo yamekufika mambo. Ubingwa wako na mke amekukimbia. Majirani na rafiki tulisha kukanya sana amigo. Heshimu mke na watoto wako, heshimu baba na mama nyumbani, na wakwe zako wape heshima, shemeji zako pia waheshimu. Tukawa sisi wabaya kwako, shauri wetu hauna maana. Tukwache kama ulivyo amigo, sababu wewe ni bingwa wa maisha. Mahali umeshalipa amigo, leo una habari naye, na leo yamekufika mambo. Ubingwa wako na mke amekukimbia. Majirani na rafiki tulisha kukanya sana amigo. Heshimu mke na watoto wako, heshimu baba na mama nyumbani, na wakwe zako wape heshima, shemeji zako pia waheshimu. Tukawa sisi wabaya kwako, shauri wetu hauna maana. Tukwache kama ulivyo amigo, sababu wewe ni bingwa wa maisha. Mahali umeshalipa amigo, leo una habari naye, na leo umefika amekukimbia. Amigo,
Remember, that's the Les Wanyika. It was started in 1978, up to date. We are still keeping it strong. We love you so much. Kamuntie wahero waenya. Wow. Wahero twagenu sana.
Just a quick question. Do you want one more? Do you want one more right now?
Fastac, do you want one more or two more?
I think in the interest of time, we'll allow the good governor of Kisumu, Professor Peter Nyang'nyong'o, to proceed. But Les Wanyika have promised us they are right here until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So there is lots where that came from. Let's appreciate Les Wanyika, Your Excellency, kindly. And let's appreciate the good governor as he comes along.
Very much. I had come here early, but I was ruled out of order by Les Wanyika. I think there were Gen Zs behind here plotting against me. But anyway, I think it was just for the better that we have had Les Wanyika after such a long time. Les Wanyika, remember your days in Starlight, in Pan-Afrique, and all those. Please come back to Kisumu also. Visit us more frequently. I'd like to welcome here now, and please welcome to Kisumu my fellow governors. Governor James Orengo of Siaya, who is sitting over there, Makofi kwa Jim. Governor Simba Arati from Kisii. And there's always the last, the sweetest music, Governor Gladys Wanga from Homa Bay. And greetings from Governor Ochila Yako in Migori, who could not make it, but he's here in soul and spirit. It is now my time, really. I don't want to say more than I had said, but I want to take this opportunity to thank the organizers of Fastac. My dear friend, the chairman, Yinka, and your team for the good work that you have done. I want to thank my ministers and members of the county government and the assembly who have been very, very supportive, and all the workers in Kisumu County for this great work. I want to thank the artists. You saw our very own Sultan Owi singing here just now, and there are many more who could have come. But we shall continue the whole week with music, art, and culture. And so keep on coming up to Friday. There is no day that will be lost for you to miss the wonderful music you have here today. I'd also like to thank very sincerely those of us who are not here but who could have been here. And I'm sure they're listening to me somewhere. But they will continue during the week. And please do come, because the success of Fastac is your success. Those visitors who have come today, please continue coming and encourage the others to come. Let me therefore take this rare opportunity to invite to the stage my dear friend, Dr. Olusegun Obasanjo, who has for a long time been the bedrock of Pan-Africanism. Together with his co-president, they created NEPAD. And Fastac is part and parcel of the cultural renaissance that they envisaged in NEPAD. Mr. President, you are always welcome to Kisumu. As Raila reminded us today, earlier on, that when you last were here in Kisumu, not really last, but the most memorable opportunity was when you went to the Museum Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and you made sure that you drank uji at our market in Kisumu. That picture still stands as a historical point in the standard nation, and the standard and nation of that day. Mr. President, feel welcome to address your people.
Governor, thank you very, very much. My dear brother, Prime Minister Raila Odinga, come on this stage with me. You brought me here, and you cannot leave me alone. Your Excellency, the Governor of Kisumu County, and the First Lady of Kisumu County, Your Excellency, the other governors that are here, if I try to go in any order of protocol, I will get lost. So let me say or use something that we have manufactured in Nigeria. We say all protocol observed. I come up here to express appreciation and thanks. First, to the governor of Kisumu County for making this Fastac to take place here and for contributing to what I call, and I think you can call it, a renaissance, a rebirth of Fastac. But for me, I have a little bit of emotion because, as you heard, we had Fastac, the first one in Senegal, in 1966. And for 11 years, there was no other one. Nigeria accepted to stage one in 1975. And we were preparing for it. Then there was a change of government. And some people said we should cancel it. And I said, we will not cancel it. We will host it. And we hosted it. And we brought black people from all over the world. Papua New Guinea, Australia, American natives. They all converged in Nigeria. And we had a very, very successful Fastac 77. Since then, it seemed maybe because we left it entirely in the hands of governments, we don't seem to be going anywhere. And at this juncture, I will want to commend and thank Yinka for your effort, for your tenacity, and for making Fastac to come alive again in my own lifetime. And one of your friends that you call up said to us, and rightly, that Africa has no reason to be poor. That we are poor is not an act of God. That we are poor, or if you like, potentially poor, because we are not potentially without resources. That we are at this moment poor is because of poor mentality, if I may put it that way. And we have to wake up our ideas. What don't we have? When you go back into history, energy that others needed to make them wealthy, that energy was taken for 4 centuries through slave trade and slavery. We were carted away to the so-called New World, using the energy of our forefathers to make others rich and to impoverish us. And that hasn't stopped. Slave trade and slavery gave birth to colonialism. Again, resources and energy of Africa being shipped out to make others rich, while we remain poor. And it hasn't stopped. We wake up and they say something structural adjustment. That was the idea of the World Bank. And then I said, what are we adjusting? We have no structure. And you say structural adjustment. You are deceiving us. You are cutting away our resources and continue to make us poor. And I was saying, for those of you who do not know, I was put in jail because in 1994, is it that I came here? 1995, I came for Jaramogi. I think it's the final first anniversary of the burial of the man I revered very much, and the opening of the Mausoleum. And I was invited by this young man. And I came. And I went back to Nigeria. And I got back to Nigeria and I was arrested. I was given 2 charges. One was that I have come to Kenya to collude with the opposition to bring the government of Kenya down. And second, that I was planning coup in Nigeria itself. So I was sentenced to 30 years imprisonment. And thanks to a friend like Prime Minister Raila, who contributed to my going to prison. When I came out of prison, another thing that I found was something they call globalization. After I've stayed in prison for 3.5 years almost. And I said, what is this globalization? And then I studied it. It means open your door, open your house, let me take whatever I can take out of your house, and then I close my door and my house to you. That's globalization. And that was sold to us. And again, we lap it up. When are we going to stop accepting these received ideas that will not work for us? We have to. And the old African adage says, if you want to go far, you work together. If you want to go fast, you walk alone. In our case, we want to go fast and go far. So how do we do it? We have to work alone and together, so that we do not work in silos. If we work in silos, we will be destroyed piecemeal. We have to work together. And I saw what you could get when we hosted Fastac 77 in 1977. People from Papua New Guinea came to give us their problem. Those in Australia came to give us their problem. The black people who are oppressed, who are marginalized, who are exploited, and all of us, of course, who are being exploited, came together. And that has not stopped. And I believe that it will not stop until we get our acts together. And the renaissance of Fastac is part of the way of getting our act together. Unless the AU, as our continental organization, does what it should do and make Africa continental free trade agreement a great success, we are not going together. AU itself needs reform. How can you have a continental organization that has program, and after it has made program, is waiting for European Union to bring money out? Not too long ago, I was appointed, and I think I'm still AU high-level representative. When I was appointed, AU has no money to make me perform. We were waiting for European Union. We were waiting for America. We were waiting for Germany to give us money. And how much is the money? Because of my connection Africa Development Bank. I called the president of Africa Development Bank. I said, I have this responsibility. I have this job. What can you do? He made money available. And that was why we were able to achieve what we were able to achieve for Ethiopia. How long will we go in that sort of way for? And how much money did he make available? $500,000. That was what was required. And AU could not make it available. So we now, as the deputy governor, said, we need a man or a woman, a person who will understand the problem of Africa and what role AU has to play. And I believe that we have that man in Prime Minister Raila Odinga. He understands the problem of Africa because he and I have worked on that problem before. And as the governor of Kisumu County said, we work together and brought about NEPAD. The governor and I went to Singapore. I think it was 1994. Governor. And our host then was Lee Kuan Yew, a good friend of mine. For 2 days, Lee Kuan Yew sat with us. This was before he wrote his book, From Third World to First World. And we want to know the magic. We were all there, about 40 of us. And after 2 days, he said to us, there's no magic. We, in Singapore, did a few things right, and we continue to do them right. In our individual countries in Africa, and collectively, as a continent, what are we doing right? And if we know what we are doing right, do we continue to do them right? If I may give an example of many countries, including my own, we take 2 steps forward, 1 step aside, and maybe 1, 2, or 3 steps backward. That cannot be progress. And that cannot get us there. And the truth is this: unless we are able to get there, we will not get the respect of the world that we deserve. We will not get appreciation of the world that we deserve. We've talked enough about poverty. Me, I don't talk about poverty now. I talk of wealth creation. Poverty alleviation, anybody who wants to alleviate poverty, let him go on. Me, I want to see wealth being created. And we can create wealth. We have everything to create wealth on the continent of Africa. Nobody will do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And if we don't do it for ourselves, we are all sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Our youth are restive. Our youth are unhappy. Our youth are dissatisfied. Our youth are bitter. They are angry. They are unemployed. And when we want to say something, we say, well, we have, 2063. As one of them said to me, now 2063 may be all right, but by 2063, he was pointing to me, you will be dead. If I remain as I am now, poor, I will be dead. I cannot wait till 2063. I want something now. And they're right. They want something now. And if we don't give it to them, we will be in trouble. We have to give it to them. And we can give it to them. It is within our ability to give it to them. What has changed between 1977 and today? A bit has changed. In 1977, Namibia was not independent. In 1977, apartheid was reigning. In 1977, Angola and Mozambique were torturing. They are not really family on their own. In 1977, Zimbabwe was not independent. But all these countries are independent today. So if by 1994 we've got rid of apartheid, we've got rid of colonialism in Africa, we have got Africa politically liberated. Today, Africa is not economically liberated. And that's why we need a man like my brother, once again, to lead the African Union and give us that reform, that leadership of the continental organization that will liberate us in Africa economically. And that is our duty. For me, as long as I'm alive, I will continue to contribute to that obligation, that duty, and that responsibility. And my brother, when he gets there, not if, when he gets there, you will do what you have to do to liberate Africa economically. And I wish you the best of luck.
the conqueror, the champion, the lion is here.
Wow. Wow. Hello? Hello? Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to join me in applauding General Baba Olusegun Obasanjo. Thank you so much, my dear brother. His Excellency, the Governor of the great county of Kisumu, and the First Lady of Kisumu, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, Hamjambo. I am very delighted to have an opportunity to talk to you today. But my speech has already been made by the General. And the other chief guests, Dr. Fazam Kamalabadi, has spoken for me. May you stand up, Dr. Kamalabadi, you made my day today. I don't have much to add. But today we are in Fastac, we are opening Fastac. It's a festive occasion. And therefore, we are in the great city of Kisumu. Kisumu hoye! Kisumu hoye! Kisumu, Kisumu, Dalawa, Kisumu, Kisumu, Dalawa, Kisumu, Dalawa, Kisumu, Kisumu, Dalawa. Kisumu, Kisumu, Dalawa, Kisumu, Kisumu, Dalawa, Kisumu, Dalawa, Kisumu, Kisumu, Dalawa. Nyanza hoye! Kenya hoye! Africa hoye! Africa ka kanindo tieno katingo wia tuganene wanga. Maya tuga makameno njela makupoga godo dipoka ketu dinda. Africa hoye! Africa hoye! It is a great pleasure. Africa, good morning. Bonjour, bonjour, l'Afrique. It is a great pleasure to join so many Africans from across the continent and the world to celebrate Africa and its culture. We welcome those from different parts of the world who have made time to be here and to see how it was and how it is at the cradle of humankind as we celebrate our culture. We are all at home. It has been proven scientifically that the first humanoid species was here in this part of the world. And that's why anybody who comes here is welcome back home. I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate the city of Kisumu for bringing this great event home. I equally thank the organizers for staging a show that is designed to leave a mark. Indeed, Africa is coming of age. We are here to celebrate African culture as expressed in food, music, stories, dances, business, fashion, and sports, among others. This meeting is very much in line with aspiration number 5, the Agenda 2063 of the African Union, which envisages an Africa with a strong cultural identity, a common heritage, shared values and ethics, and focused on Pan-Africanism. The aspirations number 5 commit to tap Africa's rich heritage and culture to ensure that the creative arts are major contributors to the continent's growth and transformation. We have to admit that as a continent, we have not invested enough in creative industries, and we have not used the industry as we should to unite our people and integrate the continent. At events like this, we reaffirm what we often take for granted or even doubt, that Africans are one people. There's nothing you are going to find here in Kenya that looks very different and unimaginable to a person from Senegal, Zambia, or Egypt. In a way, we are unique when it comes to culture. When you go to Asia, there are many different kinds of Eastern culture. You meet the Indian, the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, and so on. You go to Western culture, you meet equally many different cultures. German, English, French, American. But when it comes to Africa, there's a strong sense of uniformity. Wherever Africans are, however removed from the motherland, they all tend to put the family as the main reference for the individual. And they all tend to agree that society or community is more important than the individual. We all distill our lessons and transmit our experiences. We agree that distilled knowledge is beneficial for our societies to succeeding generations. May these traditions never die among the African people. May they unite and not divide us. It is, however, a painful contradiction and a matter of great concern that despite the near uniformity in our beliefs and traditions, Africa is more divided than these societies with multiple cultures. You have never harnessed our music, food, stories, and family connections to deliberately pursue unity and advance our cause as a people. The Congolese music is enjoyed across the entire continent, just like the music from Cameroon, Nigeria, Tanzania. Ethiopian, Somalian, Nigerian dishes are getting enjoyed across the continent. But that is where it ends. Good food, good music, and nothing more. You have never deployed these tools for oneness. They are clinging hard to borders and boundaries that were set up by colonialists and define things that should unite us by countries of origin. It is a pity that 60 years since most of our countries attained independence, we are still divided and proud to be divided with the languages of our colonial masters. That is, Anglophones, Francophones, and Lusophones. At that time, the owners of those colonial languages are forging a united Europe. There is no Anglophone or Francophone in Europe, but there is Anglophone and Francophone here in Africa. What a pity. Africa has to change. Escalated unity is the way to go. The cultural ties that bind us is a great starting point on the path to unity. For historical reasons, Europe is our closest associate around the world. We are not going to engage meaningfully with a unified region when we act as a host of tiny individual nations. Integration is an idea whose time has come. Now, I keep on saying all the times that we need Africa developed by Africans. But we've got two categories of Africans. There are Afro-optimists and Afro-pessimists. Afro-pessimists are those who have given hope on Africa. They say that Africa is a lost cause. And they talk about what has been visited upon Africa by our colonial masters. Afro-optimists, on the other hand, are those people who believe in the ability of the African people to develop Africa. These are the people who believe in Pan-Africanism ideology. Africa is the richest continent on planet Earth in terms of resources. It is a paradox that the richest is also the poorest when it comes to living conditions is the people. This, the paradox, was we must resolve. We cannot continue all the time to live in our colonial past and blame colonial masters. We should also not allow ourselves to be put in the bondage of other international institutions which were formed without African participation, which have continued to misguide development of the continent. We must take the development of the continent in the hands of our own people and move forward. This is what is required to be able to use all the materials that we have here for the benefit of our people. And this is possible. It is possible to turn what we have into wealth and therefore create a conducive environment for developing the country, in the continent. It's a pity that today African youth drown in the Mediterranean on their way to greener pastures in Europe. This is a trend that we need to arrest by creating enabling environment on the continent, by creating opportunities for employment right here in the African continent. That way we'll be able to save our people, to salvage our people. We need to look ourselves as Africans and Africa for Africans. This is the reason why I've accepted the challenge by my friend, long-term friend, General Oga Papa Olusegun Obasanjo. Papa has also been a mentor to us. He's told you how we met. Papa used to run an institution called African Leadership Forum. In that forum, he was training young African leaders to try to impart on them experience. He took me and the governor of Kisumu to his village town of Ota, next to Lagos. And there brought us together with the retired president of Africa, President Kenneth Kaunda, President Toumani Touré of Mali, President Buyoya of Burundi, who are giving us experience of challenges in leadership. So we were well taught. He took us again to other places. As you can see, he took Anyang to Singapore to go and see the Singaporean experience. As a result of that, when I was a prime minister, I took my ministers to Singapore, and I told them this is going to be the last time anybody with leadership in Kenya is going to come to Singapore. We want to go back to Kenya and do what these people have done in their country. And we came back, and in that grand coalition government, we do something in this country that has never been done before. And today it is accepted that the grand coalition government was the government, the best government that Kenyans have seen since independence. So we believe it can also be done on the African continent. Africa, as you know, cannot move forward when it cannot even trade with itself. As we are speaking today, the intra-African trade stands at 15%. Inter-European trade stands at 70%. Intra-Asian trade stands at 60%. Even South America, 35%. Africa, only 15%. What are the impediments? The impediments are: one, non-tariff barriers imposed by different countries on the continent. Secondly, lack of infrastructure in the continent, making it very difficult for goods to move from one country to the other country. And that is why I said we need to take this animal called infrastructure head on. The Trans-African highways, the Trans-African high-speed network, the open skies in the continent, and so on. As things stand today, to travel within the African continent by air is a problem. They are taxing you to fly over air, open air. And you must get a license to fly over one country to the other country. They don't do that in Europe anymore. And to travel in Africa, you need so many visas. My friend, and our friend with General Aliko Dangote, one of the biggest African entrepreneurs, says that for him to travel across the continent, he needs 35 visas. His French counterpart, who's a business like himself, does not need a visa because he's having a French passport. With a French passport, you don't need a visa to travel across Africa. With a Nigerian passport, you need 35 visas to travel across the continent. What a shame. So we are going to introduce African Union visas that can enable you to travel across the whole continent without requiring to have any visas at all. It will make it easier for people to travel, to trade within the continent of Africa. We will also open borders so that goods can move freely. We will work towards construction of the African high-speed railway network, with African road networks. We will also address the issue of energy. Energy is a major impediment to development of the continent. Yes, Africa has got abundance of energy sources. Hydro, solar, wind, geothermal, you name it. It's all available on the African continent. Yet energy is very expensive. We will make it cheap and accessible to the majority of our people. We will also ensure that we tackle the issue of climate change. Africa is a victim when it comes to the issue of climate change. Africa only emits less than 5% of greenhouse gases. But Africa suffers the consequences of climate change. Many African countries today live between twin disasters, floods and drought. We need to find ways of dealing with this. But Africa also needs to be compensated by the offenders. To negotiate as individual countries, you'll get nowhere. But when we negotiate as Africa, we'll be able to get adequate compensation for the destruction of the environment. Africa is also home to the second biggest carbon sink in the world. How does Africa get compensated? And how do we also regreen Africa? Those are challenges that we must face. So I want to end my conversation today by telling you the story of the African lion. Africa, the home of the lion. In Nigeria, you have got the eagle. In Cameroon, they have got the indomitable lion. In Senegal, they have the land of Teranga. In Morocco, they have got the Atlas lands. In Kenya, you have got the Kenyan Simba. So they say the lion is the king of the jungle. So when the king of the jungle roars, all the other animals crouch. The African lion is sending a message which was said earlier on by my friend. This message is to the Asian tiger. The African lion is saying to the Asian tiger, you have danced alone on the stage for far too long. It is time that you quit the stage. The European bear retreated a long time ago to the polars and is freezing there in the North Pole. The American panther is also on the retreat. I'm the African lion. I've been asleep in the jungles of the Congo. But now I'm awake, surrounded by the mighty Congo River, the mighty Nile, the Niger, the Gambia, the Limpopo, the Zambezi. I'm bound on the east by the peaks of Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya, to the west by Atlas Mountains, and I'm sitting on African gold, African bauxite, African iron and copper ore, African diamonds, African oil, African lithium, African coltan, African uranium. And I intend to transform all these raw materials into wealth for my people and make the 21st century truly an African century. Message from African lion to the Asian tiger. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Excellency. May we accord His Excellency Dr. Odinga a standing ovation and a massive round of applause for those words of wisdom, gems indeed. And Your Excellency, we are privileged to be part of this audience. As we remain standing, we shall have the national anthem of the Republic of Kenya, which shall signify the official close of our engagement this afternoon. If you are facing the stage, then the rest of us can follow. Protocol officers, kindly lead our dignitaries as they proceed. For the rest of us, there's a lot more from the Fastac team right here. Please enjoy the rest of your stay. Jabal.
All right, thank you very much. Fastac programming continues. And we're going to start with the Uganda group.